I will start on another platform as usual. It's the day 3 of the workshop Beyond the Survival Self. Today we'll be talking about the very important thing. It's the day 3 of the workshop Beyond the Survival. Okay, now I'm live. So day 3 of the workshop Beyond the Survival Self. And today we're gonna talk about the last I in the method of 3 I's that is called initiation. And I would say that initiation is used in a different way. Nowadays, we can see that practice in meditations, we can see initiating meditative practices, where we sort of initiate some experience for us to change our state of being. And in manifestation practices, we can see that a lot. We can see that people are trying to manifest their dream life, what they want in their life, by using that initiation. So to initiate something that I didn't have in order to change my state of being so I can attract something that I want. And this is one of the favorite topics of all time because people like to talk about manifestation. They like to talk about the desires, the dreams, and all of that things because they want some changes in their lives. And I can't blame them. I can't blame you. That's a very important part of our development process. We are setting goals to get somewhere. We are not setting goals just like, let's set a goal for nothing. No, we are setting goals to get somewhere, to do somewhere, to become someone, to actually feel something else, something different. And here is the catch. That if we are doing that without the first I of identification, the second I of integration, and we are jumping right into the initiation process, we are often stuck and we don't know what to do, and we feel abandoned inside of us because we want to change. We've put a lot of energy in that, but then we sit and wait for this change to come and say hi to us, but nothing happens. Or we have even more brutal circumstances where we put a lot of energy into the desire, into the manifestation of that desire, but everything comes out in a worse way. So we sit there and see that everything that we wanted didn't come. And what is even worse, something is coming, but not in that way that we wanted it to come. And at that place, a lot of shame comes out. A lot of people who are in that process, who are self-aware. So I'm not talking about a person who is not self-aware. I'm talking about a person who've done the work, really done the work. They can feel a lot of shame because, oh my gosh, I was doing that for such a long time and I don't have a result and I don't want to talk about it. And a lot of people sort of shut down, and then we just come to realization of those things in the conversation already when we are working on something else. And that person can say, you know what, I felt this and I felt that when I was manifesting, when I was on a manifestation workshop, or when I was like pursuing my dream and doing something, but then nothing happened and actually something bad happened. So I was fired from my job. My fiance left me and I was like left there alone with no clue what to do next. So I've just abandoned that stuff and I've just started to get out of that hole, yeah. And I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and nothing happened. So this brings up a lot of shame because a lot of people who are like me personally, an overachiever in my past, it was my coping mechanism. If you are an overachiever or you were an overachiever, to understand that something failed for you, so you didn't manage to get the result, it is very painful. And at that moment, you start to feel like a loser. And what are we doing when we feel bad and we are overachievers? We are going into more achievements in another fields. We go in sports, we are going into some, I don't know, hiking, getting out there, trying to just get rid of those thoughts. And that actually helps us to change the focus, but we are not getting what we initially wanted. That's the pitfall of going into initiation without the first two steps, stepping stones that are called identification. You need to identify where you stand, and then you need to integrate those parts that are present there, and then you can go to the initiation process. So this is a very important thing with which I want to start this day. And if you ask me, okay, Lana, tell me please, what's about people who are actually in the other side of the floor of trauma. I will draw the floor of trauma all over again today so you can understand it more, understand that it's a new concept for you. And you can be wondering, oh, how will it work for me? Or I don't know how to wrap my head around it. So I'll help you with that today one more time. And what I'm trying to say here is that if you find yourself on another part of the floor of trauma and you are, for example, not an overachiever, but you feel always like you're not enough, not good enough, and you're actually not doing anything about it in a physical way, you're doing it in a mental way, you criticize yourself, you just do a lot of stuff there in your head, not putting out any efforts because you're scared of a failure, but actually you're not scared to fail. You are scared to be rejected for it. This is the most important thing there, because the failure itself for us is not a failure in general, because the failure in general, it's a part of growth. And people who treat failure for what it is, they know that this is just a growth. This is a part of it. We cannot grow without a failure. If we are scared of failures, we will not just go where we want to go, because it's a part of it. It's a stepping stone. But for people who have some traumatic experience in their childhood, the failure feels like the end of it all. And they are scared not because the failure itself is scary, but because their brain has that connection that if I fail, somebody can reject me. Somebody can say, I don't want you around. Somebody can say, you're not good enough for me, and so on. So this is the case to understand this thing first, that anywhere on the traumatic floor, on that adaptation to your traumatic spot, if you jump into initiation process, and initiation process, you can understand it from the name, is just like getting that energy that you didn't have in your childhood, in your adolescence, in your maybe young adult years. You didn't have something, some support, some needs met, and so on. And we are getting you those needs met in that session of initiation process. But if you are not doing the work that is before that, you will get, or as I said, if you're an overachiever, you will get that, oh, I don't have a result, or everything went south and I don't want to face it. I will jump into something else where I'm good at. So if I'm good in my career, I will just go there. And I will be at work from 9 till 9 and even longer, because I just want to feel myself as I didn't get that manifestation that I wanted. But if you are on another part of the scale, if you are there with the self-doubt, with no acting, and you're sitting there criticizing yourself, at that point, if you tried to manifest and nothing happened for you, you were initiating some kind of stuff in your life, but you actually felt there that it's not real. So what people with the not good enoughness feel usually, they feel like it's not real. I'm trying to initiate, to manifest, to create that, to be a creator of my own life, but it feels superficial. It feels like it's not real, like I'm in a movie and I'm sort of detached from the process. And when I'm detached from the process, this actually is the reason why you can't manifest. That's why we have those two eyes before. I did it yesterday. So this is the method of 3 eyes. The eyes are like letters, capital letters, and this is like a Roman number 3, because these are 3 steps that we are doing, and those 3 steps you can see by 3 eyes. And the third eye, the initiation. So here I can tell that it's not an integration. It was the topic of yesterday. You can jump right there. I have in my feed the video from yesterday. So if you want to address the second eye, that is about integration, integrative process, integrating those parts of yourself that were lost while you were growing up, and they just stay there, and they sort of drag yourself back. They drag you back there to those moments of your life where you felt actually insecure, fragmented, left alone, in pain. And you think that when you are an adult that they don't touch you anymore, but actually it's a wrong way of looking at it, because all the parts that were fragmented, they didn't disappear. They just sit there and wait for your attention. So this is about the second I, it's an integration. But today we are talking about the last I in the method of 3 I's that is called initiation, the initiative process. And I've created the I here because it's the third I. Yeah, we know the third I is right here. And initiation is actually about that intuition, that feeling, that inner understanding of your own system. And that understanding of your own system helps you to know which needs were not met. What did you feel there? And you had the lack of something. That's why you were fragmented. And let's revise the floor of trauma, and I'll give you another example of the way it could be happening for you. And we will be talking today about the nice guy. Let's talk about nice guys, yeah? And we will have the example of some kind of a nice guy who were raised in a family that actually had everything in it, and why it can turn out not very good for a person who was in this setup. So I'll draw for you a floor of trauma so you can understand it more. And please, I just want you to be aware of your own story. If you look at the whiteboard and you see that there is like some kind of, okay, let's call him Mike. Yeah, there is a Mike, because yesterday I was in a shop and one guy asked the name of my daughter, and I said, she's Zoe. And he's like, oh, Zoe, it's such a rare name. And Mike, it's the most popular name. So that's why let's take Mike, because it's a popular name. And we will just see how can it turn out for Mike. But please don't be Mike. Try to think about yourself, about your childhood. And while I am drawing the floor of trauma for our hypothetical Mike, you can do the same in some kind of a notebook, in some kind of a, I don't know, some small sheet of paper. Just do that so you can also start understanding what's going on in your family dynamics. How is it for you? How is it true for you? So just don't be too picky there. We are not trying to find the exact moment of life where your psyche was fragmented. We are not trying to be precise there. It can be very precise, but still, when we are starting to do that, what I notice with my students and with my clients, sometimes they want that to be so true, and just they want to find that exact moment of fragmentation. They are so focused on that they lose the whole point of the story here. So please, I just want you to be aware of that, and just look at this hypothetical Mike and think of your own family dynamics. If it was the opposite, because I will talk about some sweet family. I've seen a lot of examples like it. Sweet families, sweet parents, everybody is so sweet and nice, but then we have Mike, who has narcissistic traits, who is absolutely not being capable of empathy, and who is a very nice guy, but he can't be empathetic because he's always scared inside of him that people will reject him. That's why he's creating a lot of problems in his own life. And I'm not calling him a narcissist, I'm saying just he can have narcissistic traits, yes? And he can cause problems in his own family and for himself. And like those people, they come and they say, I just want to work with some problems that I have, but actually I cannot tell you that I have a childhood trauma. My family was so sweet. I was taken care of in the best kind of way. My family was nice, and I don't have trauma. And those clients, I can say that they are lost in the woods just because they had that feeling that something is off, but they couldn't rely on that feeling because the facade was so nice and sweet, and they were not allowed to think bad about the facade. So let's dive into that dynamics, because it's a pretty often thing that I can see right now. So we will have Mike here. Yeah, that's a guy who came to this world and chose a family where he was born. So this is Mike being a kid. And we can see that to form some trauma, I was telling you about that yesterday and the day before yesterday, that we are not talking about trauma as a form of physical abuse. We are not talking about trauma as a loss of a loved one. We are talking about trauma because there is no word for it to describe it in a better way. But trauma is an event that caused a fragmentation inside of your psyche. So you had an unmet need, and that unmet need was explained in your own system with the limiting belief, creating a spot of trauma. And that spot of trauma is surrounded with the wall that is not letting you get into that spot once again, because your brain says it's a dangerous place. Let's avoid it. Let's not go there anymore at all in our whole life. So, and it could be something like emotional neglect from your parents. It could be something like appearance of a sibling and everything shifted. You were the loved one, the first one, the number one, the only one, and then appeared your little baby brother or little baby sister, and all the attention turned there, and you were sort of left alone. And when you were addressing that problem, telling, okay, mom and dad, I feel bad that you just have somebody else, and you were told, come on, you're already a big boy or a big girl, you just need to understand what's happening here. That's a baby, you're not a baby anymore. And that kid is left alone with all those feelings, and that is a trauma, because there is an unmet need of unconditional love, or an unmet need of being a kid. It's a need to remain a kid while you are in the kid's age, in the psyche of a kid, yeah? But sometimes we are forced into situations where we are made a small adult, yeah? So those situations are not considered traumatic usually. We are not talking about them as a trauma, because trauma in our brain, it's something big, huge, something like a loss of a loved one. So I'm talking here, just want to clarify things before we dive deeper, that I mean by trauma, I don't have another word for it, but I mean the situations where there was an unmet need present, where there was a limiting belief as an explanation of that unmet need, why this need is unmet for me. And that limiting belief is always about the person, like I'm not good enough, I'm horrible, I just can't get it, I don't deserve it, and so on and so forth. And we have a wall around that state of being where we couldn't go through that experience, remaining whole. We had to fragment ourselves in order to adapt to that unmet need and that belief that was created there. And that floor of trauma that is that is created there, that huge floor of trauma, this is where we actually feel that fragmentation. So we start to understand that we are on one part of that fragmentation, we are strong, or we are like we are weak. So we create the attention and the focus there on that part of the floor of trauma. We don't look at the another part, and that is all the condition of something to be called a trauma, a traumatic response, a traumatic experience. So imagine there is Mike, and that Mike has some sweet, loving parents. They say, Mike, you are the best. We love you. Our family is the best, and so on. So you have some events there. I just draw them like it. And they're just small, not big. Maybe something can be bigger. We will discuss it right now. But usually they are pretty small. But there are a lot of them. So we have all that. And I call it neutral, energetic soup. Why neutral? Because actually everything is neutral unless we put some story on it. So that story is what is making something not neutral, that is making something different. So now I just want to tell you that we have that neutral energetic soup. It is neutral for some period of time. But then our Mike, this is Mike, he's going down to the spot that is called trauma. Why something becomes a trauma? If we just talk about it in a linear way and we just think of it as there is a timeline of events, this creation of a trauma, it is changing the neutrality of the event in the past. So for example, we had mom who was keeping the facade, and she was not connected to Mike and his feelings, because when they were going to a playground, Mike could start a tantrum, and mom would approach and hold him very, very strong by the hand and say, okay, I need to come down immediately, or we will go home right now. You need to come down, absolutely need that. Because she's so scared that everybody will see that their family is not a sweet family, that they have some problems, and she associates the tantrum, the negative energy that is coming out of Mike, as something bad. Because in her family, that was also associated with something bad, because she was considered a bad girl when she was angry or upset or expressing something strong as those feelings. So that's why that mom of this hypothetical Mike is very alert to those things, to the tantrums, to bad mood, to bad behavior. And as soon as Mike exhibits that behavior, she approaches him and just squeezes him by the hand and says, like, come down, Mikey. You just need to stay calm right now. Just breathe with me. And she can seem like loving and caring from the side. You can see, oh, his mom approached him, she talked to him, and he came down. Oh, what a good mom. So people can really think like that. And that's not just a hypothesis. I see it every day in my practice. Like, this is treated like a caring mom that approached a guy and helped him to get over his tantrum. So we have that Mike, we have that situation, and they're small, and there were a lot of them, small ones, when she was not there for him. But it didn't create a traumatic response yet. So there is one circumstance at the end that made all those first neutral situations, they were not neutral for us, like for a spectator who's looking at it and saying, okay, this is not okay. She had to come closer to him and tell him that, okay, I feel you, buddy. What are you feeling? She had to connect to him. We can understand that from the side. But I'm in neutral, like in general, from the Mike's perspective, they were neutral at one point, yeah? But they were like, you have a glass of water and you put coins in it, and you put them and put them and put them, and once you get there where the water is on, like going over the glass, the last coin makes everything go out. So this is the situation we have here. So she was not close to him. She was not talking to him honestly. She was not there for him for a very long time in different circumstances. But one last coin dropped when he was at home and his friends came and he didn't want to share his toy, and she actually took him to another room and spanked him. So at that point, the spot of trauma was created and the wall that was built around it right away. And that made all those previous events already traumatic ones. So before, he was remaining there sort of a whole person, but after that spank, he felt like this need is unmet and I need an explanation for that, because I already cannot survive staying whole. On an energetic level, this guy started to fall apart into two directions. I will show you right now what is it. So there is an unmet need, and this unmet need, it is stemming from unconditional love. Obviously, he has a need of an unconditional love, but there are more needs that are stemming out of it. For example, if this need is not met, he's not unconditionally loved, then we have all sorts of needs that are not met too. For example, in his situation, it can be he has a need to be seen in a bad mood. To be seen in a bad mood. Why is it a need? Can you tell me, please, guys? Every person, being a child, needs to be seen in a bad mood. Why? Because this is the reflection of who I am. I have that feeling and it's okay. If I don't have that reflection, that I have that big, ginormous feeling of anger, and my parents don't reflect to me that it's okay to feel that anger, and they don't show me what to do with that anger in a healthy way, they don't teach me. They just say it's bad. You are bad. Being angry is bad, and so on. They teach me something about me there. So I've got a reflection that I'm a bad kid. But if I have a parent who is there and I'm seeing with my anger, okay, I see, buddy, you are right now struggling. You are right now in a very bad mood, and I can understand it. So this is a very important thing, that we have a healthy mirror. If we don't, we start to have an unmet need. I wasn't seen in my anger. I wasn't seen in my big bad feeling. So, and there are a couple of more needs that aren't met in this situation, but we are right now not talking about it. We are talking about, let's see that this is the first one that stems out of unmet need of unconditional love, and then we have an unmet need of being seen in a bad mood. And right away we have a number 2 here. That's a limiting belief. Limiting belief. We cannot survive without a belief. Everything is a belief. So all your feelings, thoughts, actions, they're coming from a belief. If you believe in something, then you have a feeling about it, then you have a thought about it, then you have an action that is coming out of this belief. You cannot survive without a belief system. But there are limiting beliefs, and there are beliefs that can just widen your perspective and can help you and be those beliefs that help you to live a fulfilled life. So a limiting belief is something that limits your energy. When you say to yourself, I cannot be seen in a bad mood, the limiting belief is, I'm bad. I'm bad. This is who I am. This limits you to actually be bad. So if you say, I'm bad, I'm so bad, I'm a bad person, I'm a bad kid, I'm rotten. So that what is creating the whole dynamics of your life from that point where your mom or Mikey's mom, in our example, she spanked him. From that situation, of course, not only one spank matters, all her approach matters, all her sweet facade matters, because behind that sweet facade there was nothing human. She was so scared to show the rest of the world that she has some feelings that are not nice. She was so scared to do that she keeps on doing that in her own family, to her own kid, not even noticing that she's doing that. So we have all those behaviors that she exhibited with Mike when he was a kid. And one last time was that spank, when he started to create those walls around that feeling of being lost and lonely and abandoned by himself, when he couldn't understand his own emotions, and he explained to himself that I'm a bad person, I'm a bad kid. If I have this, I'm bad. Period, the end. So when it happened, the floor of trauma was created. And the floor of trauma is a very important thing, because this is the fragmentation process. And the fragmentation process is a big thing. We cannot survive something being whole, and we say to ourselves, okay, if I be this, I'll survive. This is the floor of trauma. But you need to know that we are in ourselves, we are whole. We are created from love. And in love, there is everything, absolutely everything. But in order to feel that we are A, we need to feel that we are not B. So to create that personality of a people pleaser, I'm calling it PP, people pleaser, creating the personality of a nice guy. So Mikey becomes a nice guy. He's very attractive, charming. Yes, he's charming. He is easygoing. He is there for everybody. He is, like, in his community, everybody knows Mike. Everybody is smiling at him. He's there. He's open. He's charming. He's saying you compliments and waving you hi when you pass by in your car. He is always with the smile. That's Mikey, who adapted to that mom who didn't tolerate his bad mood. But inside of him, there is Mikey, who is angry, who's upset, who's in rage, who wants everything to be his own way, wants everything. So there is a division between this nice guy and our Mikey. Can be 70% of the time here. 70% of the time, a nice guy, present, smiling, but it's all a facade. It's an acting game. And he's pushing away this Mikey, who is there for 30% of the time. When, for example, he can be this Mikey with his fiance. So she wanted to be with the guy who is nice. She wanted to be supported by Mike. She wanted to be his wife. He wanted to rely on him, to stand by him, to feel that love, presence, compliments, and all that stuff. But she gets at home Mikey, who is angry, upset, belittling, abusive at some point. He can be not an abuser like a physical abuser, but he can abuse mentally, like lash out on her. He can be not satisfied with everything, and he can show that face only behind the closed doors, because that's what his mom taught him. And it's not about being a narcissist. He could be. But now let's talk about Mike that is not a narcissist. He has narcissistic traits, but he's not a narcissist. And 70% of the time, he's a nice guy. But he's never on your side, because he is concerned about his facade. He's concerned about how he looks, how everybody sees him. Why is it important? Because it was the only way he could connect to his mom. The only way to connect to his mom, who was thinking only about her appearance, only about how does she look in the society, how people treat her, how do they see her, because that's how she was raised. And this is sort of an ancestral trauma, because his mom could be raised like it, and she could be a nice little girl who is always present, who is smiling, who has straight A's, who is nice, and all that sort of stuff. So we can talk about ancestral trauma already in this situation, simply because it is not coming out of love, unconditional love and presence. It comes out of some sort of abuse. It comes out of not being present for your child. It comes out the floor of trauma that you live in. So if you have a floor of trauma, you will pass it on to your kids, because you can't be a present parent. You can't be there for them. You will create a lot of discomfort if you are this kind of parent. Because when Mikey becomes a father, how do you think? Will he be a good one? Will he be a present one? Will he be there for his kids if he can't be there for himself? He can't. Because he is trying to push away his feelings. And it can be so, like, he's angry at home and then he apologizes, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I didn't want to, I didn't know what's happening to me. He has emotional immaturity because he doesn't know how to cope with the rage, because his mom didn't teach him. She wasn't there. She taught him to suppress his anger, to suppress everything that was not socially appropriate. And this is sad, because our schools, our way of living, our society is actually for it. They say, yes, let's suppress the anger, because the angry one is the guilty one. But actually, there is a healthy anger, and we need to distinguish those things, like being angry and lashing out on someone with the anger. Yeah? So this is a very important thing to understand, that this is the floor of trauma. This is what method of 3 I's is based on. The first I is identification. So we need to identify, where do you stand? What are your percentages are? And it's not like precise. We're not playing the game of, oh, let's wait down till like dot point like 003. No. 5 digits after comma. No, we are not doing that. We're just evaluating ourselves in an honest way, in the way it feels. So this Mike, and I had actually the client exactly like Mike, and he came very sad and upset, and he came with the feeling that he's actually going insane. He said that when I feel that I'm on public and I have some kind of a feeling, and that feeling is so big and I cannot do anything and I cannot smile, I feel like I'm just like dissociating from my body. That's what it feels like to be this Mike. It's horrible. And he didn't address the situation until it got so bad that he felt like he's watching a movie. So when he stands in front of his neighbors in his neighborhood, and he's having a really bad day at work, something happened, and there was a lot of stress, and he's coming back home, and his neighbors waving at him, "Hi, Mike, how are you?" And he couldn't say and couldn't smile and couldn't say, "Yeah, I'm good, how are you?" He felt like there is no way he can do that because all his face became frozen because of the stress at work. And at that moment, he felt like he is looking at himself from the side, being frozen, and he felt like there are tears in his eyes, and he felt like something is trying to come out of him like a monster. And that's when he came and said, "Please help me, because I feel like I'm not me." So that Mike, that was my client, he came with that feeling of being so disassociated from his own body. But that can show up in different ways in our life. So what I'm trying to tell you here is the identification process of the method of 3 I's. The first I is to see that floor of trauma. And what is magical about it, what I love about it the most, is that you have here all the explanation, and it helps your brain to sort of let you in the system. Because sometimes we are so scared to go into the system because we have walls around that spot of trauma. If there are a lot of walls, we just, guys, cannot tolerate those walls. We are scared to step into them. We are scared to approach them. And they have different defense systems. They have a bouncy defense system. And I can tell you that by working with my clients with whom we were going down there, and they felt like, I feel I cannot touch that part. I feel like I'm thrown away from it. And in breath work, I have a lot of people with whom I'm friends with, and they are in breath work, and they say that when they are teaching people to do the breath work, they actually face those walls of traumatic spots, and when they hit that part of the wall, their clients tend to have sort of a panic attack. Like, I don't want to go there. Just like, take me out of this practice. I don't want to go there. Just because all in the body is trying to avoid getting to that spot. Why? Because it is sure that there is no help there. And method of 3 I's helps you on the first step when you are identifying what is there, who you are, why it happened, all that into intellectual process. Actually, it helps you to go deeper because you start to lower down your defense walls. You start to feel like, okay, I can do that. I can relax. I can be more of myself. I can really touch that because I already have the capacity. I have the tools. I have a guide next to me who can lead me there. I have trust inside of me that it really is happening right now and I'm ready for it. So that's the beauty of the process of going there with someone or with a group of people, and you can really feel that there is that wall. And I'm sure if you do this with me right now, you can already feel that wall that exists inside of you. There are different authors out there, and I can't give the credit because I forgot the name, but there is a person who was talking about the heart wall. And that is so fascinating. He was naming that a heart wall because actually it feels like around your chakra here, there are walls that are created in order not to get vulnerable again. And those walls are tricky because they can let you in for a little while. I can tell you that there are like not a wall that is standing straight up there, but there are like sort of layers of walls, like I'm drawing you here. Yeah, so you can pass first wall, but there will be a second. So like your system is letting you go in a little bit for a little while so it can see what is going on there, if you're going intense or not. If you're not going too intense, that part of you will say, okay, I'll let you do the work there. But in general, those heart walls are actually the trauma walls, because we feel like we had that experience, the traumatic experience of being spanked, like with our Mike. He was spanked by his own mom for his feeling of, I want that toy myself. And there is a person who is trying to take that toy from him. And there is an absolutely natural response of anger and protection of his own toys because he's 5. Being 5, you just don't feel that you can share. You just don't feel it. Not because you're a bad kid, but just because this is the time when your brain haven't developed that sharing capacity yet. So Mikey feels that. He feels that he can't share and he cannot do about it anything. And he's turning for support to his mom with that anger on his face. And mom, instead of going there and telling him, okay, Mike, you feel angry and that's fine. And I understand you. If you don't want to share, don't. And then that mom can turn to a person who is trying to get the toy and explain that, yeah, Mike now is not in a mood to share it, but we can play something else. So his mom is not doing it. She's taking him to his room, isolates him from other people, so no one sees her spanking him. Like, you behave so bad. This guy came to you to play with your toys and you're not letting him. And she spanks him. And can you imagine that feeling? Being a 5-year-old, being spanked by your mom for some natural feeling and for seeking a protection. He was seeking for a protection from her. He was looking for it. He found her face in the room to get the support, but he was abandoned and punished for it. Of course, he have a wall there. I don't want to get to that situation anymore. And what is our system doing? Our system is associating all the anger, all the neediness of someone with that pain. So Mikey develops narcissistic traits not because he's a bad boy, but because his system associates the need for help, for empathy, as something bad. So, okay, I will not need any empathy and I will block all the empathy inside of me too. So I'm not there anymore because all that is connected to that. And this is fascinating because we tend to miss this. We tend to dive straight into, oh, adult Mike is a bad guy. I'm not saying that his actions are right. I'm just saying that he could look at himself using this lens, the lens of method of 3 eyes. He could see the identification process like it. He could see, okay, I was there alone, standing there, and I had an unmet need of an unconditional love, definitely. Because if this need, the first need of an unconditional love is met, all the others will be met automatically. Because if you unconditionally love a person, you can do everything out of that energy. You feel the intuition, you know what to do. You're an intuitive mom. You can approach your son. You can tell everything you need to tell. You can feel him. You can stay connected. You can stay in the process. You will not jump out of it. You will not judge. You will not seek for approval of others around you. But if you yourself don't love yourself unconditionally because you were taught not to love yourself at all, because to love yourself is egoistic, and you need to be a good girl, you need to serve the society, you need to be nice and pleasant and so on, blah, 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 blah. So this girl becomes a mom who is Mike's mom, who is absolutely scared to be seen as a bad one. So at that point, she will approach him with this, and he will have the the unmet need of an unconditional love, from which stems the need to be seen in a bad mood as a mirror effect. Every child needs to be seen in a bad mood and to be seen that it's okay. So, we have usually this situation that till some point to express this, this feeling is okay, like to scream and to be in a bad mood. For example, if you have a newborn and a newborn is crying and a newborn is like whining, yeah? We don't say, oh, a bad newborn, what are you doing there? We're okay with that. We can say, okay, a newborn cannot communicate, cannot say that something is off, so they are crying. But when we have already a 5-year-old, we don't let that 5-year-old to express the bad emotion, because we say, oh, no, you're already in that age that you can suppress it. So let's do that. Because I can't stand it. I don't want your feelings because they're too much for me, overwhelming. So what I'm trying to say here is the first I of the method of 3 I's is identification process. We identify ourselves, we identify the unmet need and the limiting belief that is growing out of it. And I can tell you that there is a tree of limiting beliefs that is growing there. The whole bunch of trees actually that have the same root, but they're just sort of growing out of that root in different directions. And it can be also very fascinating to try to track that tree, to draw it and to see what's going on there. Because for a client like Mike, it would be, I'm bad. And from that I'm bad, there is shame. I'm bad and I'm so ashamed of it, guys. Shame is actually not a feeling. Shame is a mechanism, like a fight or flight response. You can't control it. You can suppress it and pretend like you're not red and you're not ashamed and pretend like you're self-assured. But actually, you can't. You can't hide your shame. Your shame is a very big, important mechanism. Your shame is out there and it is controlling your life. Because when you feel like I'm bad and you're ashamed of it, you're trying to hide your badness anywhere you can. So what are you doing there? You are trying to tell people that you're not bad. So that's how you can become an A personality. I don't mean the A personality like in America we can call A personality a person who needs to be perfect, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Amazing. No, we are not talking about it, but we are talking about the A because we have this division on our floor of trauma, A and B. So the A direction, where you are going there, you think that you're a people pleaser, a nice guy, you're always smiley, you're always there helping, and so on. But you're absolutely unreliable because the only thing that concerns you is how you look. If you look fine, nice, if you look like a good person, a good, nice guy, that's your goal. So your goal is not empathy. Your goal is not supporting somebody. Your goal there is to be nice, to be seen as nice. Because you have a lot of shame of being bad. Because your mom put a lot of shame there, spanking you there for your feelings. So at that moment, if you just go there and understand what's going on, this is a very important part of self-realization that helps you to go deeper. That's why in Method of 3 I's, we have this first identification. Without it, your brain will not allow you to dive deeper because you will think that you are threatened, that your compensatory mechanism is under threat. So this is, hi, what are you explaining? I'm explaining the floor of trauma. So you can start over because I suggest you can watch till the end and then rewatch the first part because it's a lot now to repeat. I understand that somebody is just joining right now, but feel free, please revisit. I will save the recording and you will be able to see all that I've said before. Now we're talking about the floor of trauma. How is it formed? How our compensations are formed and what's happening there. So if we have that Mike who is here feeling bad, all our society is built on shame. If you look around, you'll see that everything is built on shame. What I mean by that, shame is a mechanism where we think that something is off about us, something's wrong. we are not good enough, we are not nice enough, we don't have enough achievements and so on. And we want to hide it. Because in our society, everybody is praising us for being somebody, not ourselves, but somebody. So if you have a college degree, if you have some status, if you have a sort of a car, some type of a car, if you have a wife or a husband that is good looking, this is cool. We will say, yeah, thumbs up. You are great. You're a great person. So this is the society built on shame. We are not interested in who you are, what is underneath there. We are interested in your achievements. We are interested in how do you look. Just look on Instagram. Just look in showbiz, look in politics, any direction you can look, you'll find shame. If I'm not like it, I'm scared people will know it, and that's why I'll hide it in all sorts of way. And this shame, so if we have come back to the floor of trauma, let's come back to the floor of trauma. We have Mike. We have a lot of situations where his mom wasn't there for him, wasn't an emotionally supportive parent, and he created a floor of trauma. There is a trauma spot when she spanked him for being angry that some kid took his toy, and she didn't want him to show his anger in society because that meant for her that I'm a bad mom if my kid is bad. So Mike forms a spot of trauma. It is formed by an unmet need of an unconditional love and to be seen in a bad mood. There is a need to be seen in a bad mood, and that is creating a limited belief system. A limited belief system is something that explains why this need is unmet. And the first thing there is I'm bad. I'm bad, that's why I'm not unconditionally loved. Then we have bad feelings are bad too. That's why I cannot be seen in a bad mood. So this is an explanation to the unmet need, why I cannot be seen in a bad mood. The explanation to it is bad feelings are bad. They can't exist. I need to get rid of them. I need to be always nice. And that niceness is a facade that he creates, and he lives in that facade. So we have him going here in a people pleasing, in being nice guy, in being charming, easygoing, attractive, physically good looking, and so on. So this helps him to create that personality that is protecting him from going back again to this spot of trauma. And you can see the walls that are built around it. So he is preventing everyone, including himself, of going there because it was too painful to experience in the first place. And we cannot blame him. Being a 5-year-old with a big emotion, with an absolutely emotionally immature mom who is not allowing that emotion to even get out of you, this is tough. So that's why his psyche says, no way, we're not going there. Sorry, no. So he is identifying himself with the nice guy, and he's not going to the B personality in public, because he can go there and be angry and upset and enraged, and he can just say, I want what I want, only with people that are closest to him. So it can be his wife, with whom he's going to the rage mode. And then he's like, oh my God, what did I do? It was so bad. I'm so bad. And he's going into the loop of feeling that badness and expressing that facade, and all that is the way he lives. So that what makes people usually come and say, I have a problem. The problem is a discomfort that stems out of one part of your personality trying to come out that was always hidden in your basement, the basement of your psyche, and another personality that is trying to take over and say, this is unsafe, just get back there where you belong, to the basement. So you feel that discomfort of being there in two zones. You have that discomfort, and you don't have a capacity to understand what's going on there because you don't have it. You don't have the explanation to it. So you come to a therapist, or to me as an expert of a method of 3 I's in this method. Or you can come even to some alternative ways of self-help. You can go to a numerologist and say, what's going on with me? Why am I so unstable? So this discomfort is creating a problem that you name a problem. You can say that a lot of clients like Mike are coming to me and they say, I cannot do my job. I'm always fired because of my stupid rage. It's coming out there and it is an important project and it can't be done. And I'm like, just help me to be more effective in my work. But when we go deeper, we find this. Or it can be a person who is coming, like a person like Mike, coming and saying, okay, I have problems with my kids. My kid is a drug abuser. And I can understand where did it happen? Why did it happen? What am I supposed to do with that? And then we dive deeper and we see that all the childhood that the child of this person had was that facade of a people pleaser and not connecting to any deeper feelings. And now that kid is suppressing their emotions, and now this kid is using drugs to just feel more comfortable. So it can come out in a different problems, and we call them a problem, but it actually goes deep into our system as a symptom. I call it a symptom. I'm not a doctor, but I use this word as symptom because I just don't have a better word for it. Vibrationally, this is like the most connected to all that word. If to say honestly, I would rather create another word, but you will not understand me if I say bidi bada ba. You would say just what is it? Because you don't have any connection to some random letters. But to the symptom, you have some connection in your brain, so you understand what it is. So I'm trying right now just to give yourself that understanding that there is a layer of a symptom as being some physical symptom and a disease and some part of medical field. I'm not using the word symptom to create the connection with the medical field. On the opposite, I want to use the word symptom to create the connection with something that manifests itself in some kind of a discomfort. So that's the connection I want to save there. So we have the problem, the presenting problem is always an intellectual description of the discomfort. And a person can't usually say, I have a discomfort is my personality one going out there because it was in the basement and another is trying to take over. No, people are not aware of that. They usually say something like, I can't do my work because I have a stupid rage. So that's what it looks like when we are talking about the problem, the presenting problem. So why I'm saying to you that you can use it for yourself. You can sort of start to identify your problem as not the surface problem, but going deeper, what lies there. Use, please, this technique. This is the method of 3 I's, the technique that can be used by anyone who want to understand what is going on there beneath the surface. So we have that, and we have that identification, we have that symptom. That symptom is the discomfort of B trying to get out and A trying sort of to put it back down to rest. And that is the time for this sort of work that can be done. This is your alarm bell. This is meditation bell. Call it whatever you want. This is the invitation to go inside of you and to do the work of integration. So that's what it is. First I is a welcoming part to go deeper into integrative part. And an integrative part is my favorite part because there we can really feel what's going on. And our goal in an integration part, I was talking about it yesterday. I will tell that again. This is so important, guys. Please listen to this attentively. So we integrate first the protective mechanism. A lot of my students and clients, they say, why do I have to integrate this people pleaser nice guy if I want to get rid of him? That's why. Because you want to get rid of him, because you are standing at the spot of discomfort of two parts colliding together. And you think that both of them are the problem, but it's not. The problem is the trauma spot. And if you integrate both of those parts, you'll have a path that will lead you to the trauma spot. Without integrating those parts, you are in an opposition to them. When you are in an opposition to any of those parts, you just stand there and you can't see the path. It's like covered with a lot of leaves that just fell off the trees in fall. And they're laying there all around and you don't see the path. Not because it's not there, but because it's covered. It's covered and you can't see. So when you integrate, the first integration is a powerful integration of your compensatory mechanism. And we go there not to put it to rest. We go out there to actually welcome it and to give it a full permission to exist. When you want to let go something, the first action that you need to do is to pull it closer. Feel it, pull it closer, be with it. Yeah, like layers, exactly. So if you are there with the agenda, I want to get rid of you, so I will pretend like I'm letting you in, this part is not stupid. Any part of you is stupid. So your system will get that oppositional force and will throw you out with X2. It will double that force and triple it and quadruple it if it's needed. So for you, the most important thing is to not to lie to yourself, to be honest with yourself, and to really see, okay, I have a discomfort, and this discomfort is coming out of this collision. This collision is leading to a discomfort. Then I understand that I need to really, really be honest with myself and to come to the work with the feeling of I want to integrate this part, this nice Mikey who is always smiley and so on. And from one point of view, it will feel easy because your system identifies itself with this people-pleasing Mike. You understand that you're not Mike, and if you're doing the work right now, if you're just like creating your own floor of trauma, just you name it, you name your own oppositional force and you name your own compensatory mechanism that you see, you can be like not a people pleaser, you can be an overachiever. It's me. I was an overachiever to cope with everything I had in my childhood. So you say to yourself, for me, it was like, okay, I will integrate that overachiever. It felt like joyful because I felt myself very, very, very motivated. I felt myself energetic, and it was not like for me a big problem to go there, but I was damn wrong. Because when I was there and I was then given the permission for this part to express itself to the fullest, the other part started to say, nah, this is not happening. I will not let you do that because I just don't feel like it is even possible. So there is a lot of work, inner work that we do together. If you join my course, Method of 3 Eyes, the group level where we will be together doing all that work, I'll tell you everything and I'll support you on that way, on that journey, how I did with thousands of people already, so you can be supported in this work with me. So you go there and you integrate with the second eye integration, integrate this part. Then we have the integration of another part. This is where things get more interesting, because this part we don't want to feel. And there is a barrier even to feel it, even to admit it. I had a client who was a very successful self-made woman who she's making millions. Not just like, I'm wealthy. She's very wealthy. And for her to go to that part where she was absolutely lost, she was weak, she was needy, she just couldn't. She said, I want to vomit. I don't want to identify myself with that slug. This is disgusting. I don't want to go there. And it was quite a journey for us. We managed to get there because the first eye helps a lot. When you have that process, you can address that process being already in hypnotic state, working with that part, realizing that you have the identification process and you know what is what, at that point, at that part, you can more understand what's going on. So for her, it was really tough to get there to that spot because she felt like it's disgusting. I don't want to be that part. I don't want to connect with that part. I don't want to even talk to that part anymore. But still, as I tell you, when you have the floor of trauma, you can address it and say, okay, you see, you're pushing that part away only because you feel threatened by it. You feel like if you become this, if you admit that you have a need, you'll get here. That's why you are not letting yourself feel it. And when you tell that to the client, they just start to let you in. Like, oh yeah, I don't want to let you in just because if we go there and start feeling this B part, the opposite direction of the floor of trauma, if I go there, I still believe that I'll get to that spot because you push that away in order to cope with the feeling of being lonely in that spot. That's why this part of floor of trauma associates in your psyche deep inside with that pain. And for you to go there into that weakness is to go here. And if you have that with your client or with yourself, you can tell yourself, okay, I am in opposition to that. I'm suppressing it. I'm pushing it away only because I still feel that I'll get there and without a support. And you can understand, okay, but there is a support right now. There is me who is more self-aware, who's not a kid anymore, who can be there for myself. There is a guide who is here next to me, the expert in the method of 3 eyes, who can understand, give an unconditional support, create a container, create a safe space for me to actually feel it, to actually be there. So this is the integration of the second part of our floor of trauma. And then we also have the session of family energetical resonance, the reveal of energetical resonance. Why am I talking about that? This is something that you haven't seen before, because the way I'm doing it, I'm using the energy of your field, ancestral field. And I told you this is an ancestral thing because you have mom who had that from her grandma. You have a grandma who had it before. It's not coming out of pure unconditional love. It's all coming out of some compensatory mechanisms that are still there in your ancestral field. It's not some woo-woo thing. It's just physics, because if you have some energy that is there, you know that there are experiments on rats about it. I will not tell you the whole experiment by itself because it will take a long time, but I will just mention it so you can Google it if you want to. There is an experiment where the rats were put in the cage and they were exposed to the cherry smell, the smell of a cherry blossom, and they were hit by some voltage, yeah. So they had that pain together with the cherry, the cherry blossom smell. So they developed a fear of a smell of a cherry blossom, and they had cortisol in their system as soon as they felt that smell. So they've created that association in the rat's brain. And those rats, they took some biomaterial from them, and they used it sort of to create small baby rats, yeah? So those baby rats were not connected to their fathers, and they were taken away from the mothers as soon as they were born. So the scientists wanted them not to have any sort of communication. Obviously, it's not non-verbal, but they have their own rat's language, which we still don't understand right now. So they just wanted to exclude the possibility of their communicating something to each other. So they took the biomaterial from male rats, then they created rats, small rats, yeah, baby rats, and they separated them from female rats as soon as they were born, and then they exposed those babies to the smell of cherry blossom, and they all had the fear-based response, the cortisol, noradrenaline, and adrenaline in their system, and that proved that all that is going and passing from one generation to another. I don't remember, but they prolonged that experiment, and they actually saw that it is going on even further. It doesn't stop with those babies of the rats that felt that pain. Yeah, it went further away. I don't remember how many generations were just felt it, but it was a big number, something like 6. You can check it by yourself. So what I'm trying to say there is that we all have that ancestral trauma, and we are looking for a solution in our energetic field. Yes, so that's what's going on there. That's why in the method of 3 eyes we have a process, a session where we address it, not to fix it, not to put our grandma into the right spot in our family tree. No, we're not doing that stuff. We are just addressing the situation by looking into those patterns that we used to have in our family dynamics, and we are working on seeing that loyalty to those dynamics and to creating freedom there. So we don't feel loyal anymore to some compensatory mechanisms, and we set ourselves free. So that is the goal of the session, where we see the family resonance. It stems out of some, of course, work on the family constellations and so on, but it's not it at all. It just like stems out of it, but still it's not it. I will not explain this longer, because this is a very important process, but still we are here for the initiation, so I'm coming already closer to it. So we are integrating this part, then we are integrating this part, then we are doing the session of family resonance. So we find with what mechanisms do we resonate in our family tree. Oh, my grandma was doing that and I'm doing it, and my grandma was doing that and I'm now doing this. And we sort of don't have a choice until we see that, until we realize that there is that connection and it's not loyalty at all, and we can choose. And when we give ourselves that permission, everything shifts and changes. We have more freedom in ourselves when we are doing that. So after that, we are going to initiation process. And initiation process, I was talking in the beginning of our session today, that people think that initiation is something to create something that wasn't there. And it's actually true, because we need to step into that very painful spot right there to go through the wall. And we can go through the wall only by integration that we already have done. So then we stay there in that spot, and we are asking ourselves what I needed there in order not to be fragmented. What did I need to pass this situation staying whole? And of course, we understand that there is some energy, we need some unconditional love, we need the need to be seen, and we create that process for ourselves. But we are not creating that out of, pink glasses. Because we can say, oh, my daddy left me when I was 2, so now I will create a daddy that stays with me. And sometimes it's a band-aid on a very big wound. Or I also can tell that it's like to have a hole in the wall and just to glue a wallpaper over it. There is a hole there. The wallpaper, of course, it may seem nice and you look at it and say, okay, it's fine. But when it's windy, you can feel that there is a hole in the wall that goes through the whole house, and you are actually, you just have only thin layer of a wallpaper, and then you are exposed to the outside weather. So that's what I'm saying here, is that we don't do that from the perspective of pink goggles that we just put on and say, now I have a daddy. I don't need a daddy. I'll be my own daddy. No. We are creating that initiation process on an energetic level. We feel what we lacked. We feel that we can give it to ourselves right now from the point of unconditional love, from the point of unconditional support, because we've gained all that love and support going through the whole process. That's why our last eye, the initiation process, is in the last it's almost last session. Then we have the coaching session after that. But still, it's in the end of the process, not just because we wanted it there, but because all that was before that is helping us to do the initiation process in a way that is really helpful, that is really doing the work for us, that is really there not to put the wallpaper on the hole in our wall. It's there just to create the new experience, to create the new neurological paths in our brains so we can really feel safe, loved, understood, seen. And it's not about changing our parents, creating something inside of them that wasn't there. It's only about our own experience, our own feeling, our own maturity, and our own love to ourselves. So after that, this is a very important thing, guys. You are going up, 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 up in vibrations, in awareness. And you end up here on the floor that is like we had the floor here, and we are going up, 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 and we end up here, the floor where we can own our trauma. So what does it mean to own your trauma? While Mikey became a people pleaser and he was all that, and he had the rage and he hadn't the capacity to express that rage and so on, we see it, and we can own the trauma by first feeling gratitude. Gratitude arises by its own. We cannot force it, guys. It's just like I've been through with the clients this process all over again. A lot of clients are coming with thick gratitude journals and they say, I harness my gratitude every evening. I'm sitting there and writing down how grateful I am, blah, 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 blah. And this is a stoic process that is created out of a willpower. But gratitude is not created out of a willpower. You can create an illusion of gratitude, but it will be collapsed, laying down on the floor as soon as you'll have some situation that will address this floor of trauma, unresolved floor of trauma. All your gratitude will vanish and you will stand there and say, where is it? I was so grateful yesterday when everything was fine, but when things went south, my gratitude just disappeared. So here we have gratitude that is a natural process. It arises inside of us when there is nothing to be integrated anymore. When everything is integrated, we feel gratitude because this process is a homecoming. We feel like we are going home. And when we are going home, we are so grateful for the journey. We are so grateful for that feeling of being home. So this is a very, very deep process, guys. And why can I say that we own our trauma? Because Mike here, he can understand, okay, I am such a good emotional detector. I can detect what other people feel about me, about the situation, about everything. I can get into the room and feel exactly what every person thinks, what every person's mood is. I can understand, I can feel it, I can be in that process like a fish in the water. So this Mike can use that ability that was learned being traumatized. He can use that ability in his career, in his daily routine, in his communication with his kids, with his wife, with his friends, and it can help him to be a better husband, a better person, a better dad. Why I'm saying like this, like, yeah, a better, because we're not looking for a better in the terms of being a facade. We are saying that he can be more of who he already are, because he is there for his kids, feeling present, feeling connected, only because he can do that for himself. So by using the social skills that he gained due to his trauma, he can be more of pure unconditional love with his kids. He can see, okay, I have a daughter and she has a bad mood, but I used to detect all the little things in my life in such a good way that now I can see she's coming out of the gate from school and I already can see that something's off. And I'm so connected. I can be so connected to her that I will not push where I don't need to push. I will not ask questions where I don't need to ask questions. I will ask them only when I'm supposed to do that. I will be so connected to her and present and loving. So I am myself using my superpowers from my traumatic experiences for being more of who I am. And this is fascinating. This is actually the best way. I had a client who is an actor in theater. So she is not an actor in movies, but she's an actress. But she's an actress in a theater. And she became such a good actress because she had to abandon herself completely being a kid. Because she is from, her home was so abusive that she told me that there was no evening where people were calm and silent and loving. Each evening they were or fighting or screaming at each other, or somebody was smoking weed and there were like some gangs around. So she had a very bad experience of a very unwelcoming home in her childhood. And her psyche learned to just disappear from there. Her psyche learned to wander around, create imaginary friends, and she was just somebody, but not her. She was imagining herself being an alien, she said that it was like that time when people were talking about UFOs, and she said, like, I really had that vivid dream that I was taken from my bed. I was like in the sort of a ship, and people, there were no people, there were aliens trying like to connect to me, some wires to my brain and so on. And actually that was her psyche running away from the experience of her home. And she learned to do that in such an amazing way that she was an amazing actress. And after we've gone through the process of the method of 3 eyes, we've integrated all that. She was standing up there on top of the floor of trauma, and she was looking at it, and she said, like, gosh, now I can use that ability of going out of my body in a professional way, and I can turn it on and off. Because before, she said, after playing somebody in theater, she could just be in a depression for a couple of weeks because the show ended and she didn't feel like it's ended in herself. And she was very, very sensitive. And for her, it was a struggle all of the time. But with that owning of her trauma, she could switch it on and off. So that's what it is, that real gratefulness that is going out of the integrative process as a flower that is blooming on another ground. So before you had a ground that was hostile to the flowers, it was very dry and unwelcoming. But after the integration process, you already have a nice ground full of water where it's needed, full of fertilization, and you just plant a seed there and it is growing up, and you have a flower there, and you can already own your trauma without drama. You are owning it, you're feeling it, that it was a part of your life, a significant part of your life, but now it's over. So the very important thing, you feel like it's over. It's not ruling your life. It's not making you do things. You are free there. And then you can feel that gratitude, and then you can have those bonus tools, perks, whatever it is, from the traumatic experience, all those things that you've learned. Now you really can use it in your everyday life. This, guys, feels amazing. It's just really something that I cannot say that there is something else that is felt like it. That mixture of freedom, of power, because method of 3 eyes is very empowering. It is bringing the power back to you, the power to accept you, to love you, to be present with you, to be there, not to change, because all the changes, they are a bonus to that process. We are not hunting for the change. We are letting the change happen on its own when we are there, when we are present, when we give ourselves a different vibration. And as soon as we give ourselves a different vibration, we have that capacity to do that. We have the safe space to do that. Everything changes on its own, because it changes. It changes, and we cannot stop the change. Everything changes, and this is the most constant thing in the world. But the way it changes depends on the vibration that is present there. So that's our goal, to go there with that. And with the method of 3 eyes, we have one more session that is called the coaching session, when we dive deeper and we understand what we're going to do with all that. So how all that new state will manifest itself in your daily routine, in your reality. because it's not enough just to feel it. You need to act from that feeling. And if you know that your body has the lowest vibration, the physical body has the lowest vibration. So you have your conscious mind, subconscious mind, your higher self, you name it. All that has a higher vibration because it is just not better than your physical body, but because for the physical manifestation, you really need to lower your vibrations. So when we are talking about the process of physical body, it's sort of, it's not catching up with the energetical process. So the energy can change, your state can change, but your body, it needs to catch up. So there is one last session where we do the work already outside of your psyche. We do the work of just extending it into the action. So we take your state and we extend that state into physical reality. So that's like an architecture of your new life, architecturing. And this is energetical architecture, and it's already a movement. It's already a physical movement which we are doing also all together. So this is how it looks like to do the work in the method of 3 eyes, and how the initiation works, and why it's all connected to each other and very important. And I'm so happy to share that with you guys, because I've done the work thousands of times with my clients. I've done the work in group dynamics, group settings, and I can tell you that everything works in an amazing and profound way. I love the group work because there we have the community of people who are doing that together with you. And if you are going through that together with somebody, you can feel them, you can understand them, you can get more perspectives on your situations, because we have a chat, you can talk to each other. We are doing art because after each session we connect in the chat and we talk and we say, oh, I felt this, I felt that. We share. We have a sort of a sharing circle where we can all be connected to each other and be supportive with each other, because we really need it. Not everyone gets it. Sometimes we have a family dynamic where nobody is supporting us. And we are like, we are viewed as a cuckoo, a woo-woo, like a person who's, oh, why are you doing that work? Just like, get out there and do your life. Why are you going inside and like trying to understand how it works? So a lot of people, they just seem not to understand it. And when we have the community of like-minded people, it helps us a lot, actually, to be seen, to be felt. And it is a very great experience to be there in a group. Obviously, you can do it with the expert, with the person one-on-one if you want it. I'm doing that also with my clients one-on-one, but I can tell that the group dynamics is my favorite because a lot of things we can learn there. So I'm inviting you to join my next cohort. We will be doing this method of 3 eyes. We will do that together. You will have lessons. There are 7 modules that we are covering. It's a very profound course. It's not just like, let's meditate 3 times and forget about it. No, it's a very deep and profound work that you can be doing with us. So I can tell you what is in there, what we are actually doing in that process, in that course, but you can read it by yourself. You can go follow the link in bio. It will lead you to the website where you can register. You can read about the modules, you can read about the method a little more, and you can see when it starts and all the questions you can ask. There is a support button. You can talk to my team. My team can help you figure out everything, and you can get more clarification where you need it. So it's a big thing to do. So I will tell you now what is in the method, in the course itself. It's called, obviously, Method of 3 Eyes. We have key features. It's a focus on personal transformation. It's your journey through the path that I've talked about all these 3 days. We were talking about this process. There are guided practices with me live. We are going through the process all together, and I'm leading you through that process and just going with you together. Also, we have pre-recorded lessons to give you more information, more understanding. I know that this method is new. You don't know this method and you can feel like, okay, I'm lost. So many information. How can I figure out my floor of trauma? How can I know my unmet need if I'm not an expert in that? How can I understand that? And everything actually is in the course already done for you. So you can do that in the most loving and present way, because we have the lessons that are pre-recorded. We have all the materials that can be like printed out, a lot of materials that can be used after each lesson. You have the key points already done for you, and you can see them, you can print them out. There is a workbook to every lesson that you can just fill in the gaps, so sort of it makes it easier. If you don't like printouts, you just can get the notebook and use it. It's also a nice way of doing that. So actually everything is already done for your convenience. We have pre-recorded lessons, we have tasks that you can do after the lesson to understand your system more and to go deeper. I will be checking your work because you can just share it in the chat and I can check it if you want to. You have the connection to me all of the time. Also, we have the live practices each week. You get the recordings of those practices. You'll get the schedule, of course. If you want the schedule, you can talk to my team also by using there is a button there that you can hit when you are on the website, connect with the team, and you can connect with the support team, yeah? You can connect with them and talk to them about the schedule. They will give you all the information there. So we meet every week to do the work, to do the actual work, because all the lessons they aimed to give you more information for transformation, and the work is done live, in live sessions that are like 2 hours long, not 30 minutes, not 10 minutes. We are there for you so you can understand your system more. We are going into the hypnotic state, into the trance-like state, and there we work deep with our patterns, compensatory mechanisms, and all that. You will know yourself very deeply, on a very deep level, like, you know, that proverb, know thyself. This is the most important thing. I'm not saying that I know something about you. No, you will be there for you. You will have all the power. You will have all the tools. I'm not a guru. I'm not someone who knows better. I'm a person who has a tool, and I will teach you how to use that tool. I will be there to course correct, to support, to regulate, to create that space, that environment where you can actually do the work. But the work is done by you, and all the power you will gain from that work will be just used in a very healthy and profound way to create the life that you really want for yourself. So there are the modules that I will just name right now so you understand what is there. We have a pre-training. This is the module 0. So before the start, you get already the access to that module. If you pay today for the course, you'll get that pre-training just at once, and you can start working on it. This is a pre-training. You need to identify the truth about your family to harness the strength of your lineage. So you will be connected with your ancestors to understand that no woo-woo, it's all it's not like, okay, sit and call the spirit of your grandma. No, guys, this is not me, not method of 3 eyes. We're not doing that. So now know this stuff, because I know people who hear just ancestors, they jump right into conclusion that we will sit there in front of the candles and just like ask the spirit of our grandma to appear in front of us. No, this is not the work. This is something else. You can be doing that. I'm not against it if you want to, but not in the method of 3 eyes. So there we are going to our family dynamics to understand ourselves more. Then we will calibrate our inner compass to quickly implement our course intention, understand our problem. I was talking today that the presenting problem is not a symptom. This is something how you explain your discomfort. So the presenting problem is the explanation of your discomfort. And actually we are going deeper than that. And in the pre-training, you will determine what is your specific request, what do you want to do, what lies beneath your problem, what is your own symptom, what is your own discomfort. So there's a lot of information to help you figure this out. Then we have an energy practices, a lot of them that are recorded in the audio format, so you can just listen to them. And I personally advise listening to them more often than once or twice, so you will have some practices that you love the most. I suggest to turn your attention towards the practices that felt not so cool. So usually our psyche says, no, I'll stay here. This practice is the best. But actually it's something you're already used to and you're doing it easily. But I suggest that you go to the practices that actually feel not that easy. So choose your practices to do twice, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, the amount of times you want. This is an important part of our work, that you are setting yourself up for something using the audio recordings also. Yeah, so you're setting yourself up to success, because we will have then a practice together, and those energetical practices, they are preparing you for that. So then the first module 1 pops up. It is called identification. We will find the deep pattern in the subconscious that you have. So you will see yourself, as I showed you our mic, you will see yourself. Who are you? What is your floor of trauma? How is it going on for you? And of course, I'll be helping you in the identification process. I will be there. I will answer the questions. You will have me. And this is an important part, because when you are there without the knowing, without the understanding, you're sort of left alone there. It is hard. But when you have a person who can show you, I'm not saying this is you, this is how it is done for you. No, I'm not using that language. I'm there to be your support, to be your guide, to help you, to give you the whole information you need, and you will be doing that, and you will see yourself in a more naked way. So you will just undress yourself from trauma, from traumatic facades, and you will see more and more of who you really are. I think this is a very, very magical thing to do. And I think this is so honest, so sincere, so open, so deep, that I haven't seen anything deeper than that, actually. Because in all practices where I've been to, we are sort of still going around some layers of masks. But here you are stripping yourself of the masks, and you can really see who you are. And you're magical. You're amazing. A lot of people are scared to find out that they're bad, but it's not the truth at all. It's never the truth. When you take off those masks, you can really feel that you're made of pure love, that you are that pure love. But to talk about it, it's one thing, but to really feel it, like those masks, they fell off, and you're standing there and looking at yourself, and you really feel who you really are. And you start to want to just extend that awareness to all the fields of your life. You want to extend that into your relationship. You want to extend it into your kids. You want to extend it into your work, everywhere. And all the spheres of your life, they start to shift, to change, because they are filled now not with lack, not with shame. They are filled with the true essence of who you really are. And this is magical, guys. So the first process is the module 1, identification. Uncover the true case of the issue, not just what appears on the surface, but the deep symptom that you have. Formulate a clear intention for the work. Then we have the second module, module 2, integration. Release the emotional charge from the event. Integrate the fragments stuck in the past. Integrate your compensatory mechanism. Integrate it on a deep, deep level. Form a new state of wholeness. And then we jump into the module 3, integration in the ancestral field. No woo-woo again. We explore the ancestral field, reveal the influence of your lineage on the pattern's formation, integrate ancestral experience without repeating the pain, reclaim your lineage's power to release your intentions. Then we have module 4, integration and initiation of the patterns of the other side. So it's so-called a shadow work. Okay, I can name it a shadow work, but the shadow means that it is something that is hiding there. Yeah, something that we don't see, but as soon as we see it, it's not a shadow anymore. So it starts like a shadow work, but it progresses into the more aware state, and I call it the integration of an opposite side of the trauma floor. So that's what we are doing there. I've explained it today also. And then we have the initiation module 5, the initiation process. Create a new scenario, free from old programs, initiate a new state where past blocks no longer exist. Expand your worldview and allow yourself new results. So we are going there up to the floor of owning our trauma, of having that gratitude, of having that backpack full of tools, full of bonuses that we can get from our traumatic experience. And guys, believe me, no matter how severe your trauma was, your adaptation mechanism is a treasure chest. You can really get from there a lot of things that can be used in a healthy way in your daily life. And we just see it only when we get to that floor and we look at our trauma from the top. So then what do we have next? We have the module 6, applying the results in reality. As I told you already, we embed our new state into everyday life. It is very easy to sit on the mountain and be the monk and accept everybody and feel unconditional love. But then when you come back to your family, when your same mom is sitting there and she's toxic and talking to you shit, sorry for my French, yes, you jump back to those compensatory mechanisms. So the most important part for us is to actually apply the results of our work in our daily routine. Somebody's asking, what are we talking about? I'm talking about the method of 3 eyes. I really strongly recommend you to rewatch, because it's already a very big amount of information that I need to repeat in order to explain you everything. Now I'm telling people how they can join me on this way together in the course that is called the method of 3 eyes. Everything I've explained with the trauma floor, how is it formed, all the identification, integration process, you can know a lot more about yourself just rewatching this video. You don't have to join if you don't want to, but please rewatch the video, because it will be very helpful if this is the topic that you are interested in. So, as I told you, when we are back from the work to our daily life, we need to feel the results here. Because to have the results on top of the mountain is not to have the results at the same table with your toxic mom. It's an absolutely different story. So we are doing that module to really have those results in our real life. We'll learn to act from our new position, solidify our new behavior model through action and practice. We create a plan for implementing changes in the external world. And we have the module 7. This module is called shame. As I told you, the whole society is formed on shame. And we are, I think all those practitioners in the self-help field, self-awareness field, we are there with one goal: to lead people towards not shameful society, but towards authentic society, when everything builds on authenticity. This is so important, so big, and it's a big goal there. But I feel that this contribution, it is the thing that motivates me every day to move towards it. I want my kids to live in the authentic society. I want them to feel how is it to be you and not to be ashamed. How does it feel to really not be scared of a judgment or something else, but really do something out of your own inner willingness, your own inner energy of who you really are, to just have that connection with that essence of yourself and just to extend that into the physical reality. This is such a great feeling, guys. And I have it due to enormous work that I've done with myself, but I want people just to live in the society where it is just, it is there. You're born into it. This is your birthright. This is so cool to really go to this direction. And if you're with me, I'm so happy that I have more people that just understand and realize how important it is. So the module shame, it helps you to really get face to face with your own shame, to understand who you are, to understand how you shaped yourself according to your shame. And I've told you that this is created in a childhood when we have that trauma spots that is laying on top of the unmet need and the limited belief, and that limited belief is always connected to I'm bad. And if you're bad, you need to hide that because bad people are not accepted by the society. And then you have the whole personality structure that stands on that feeling of hiding the badness inside. And we have so many narcissists there. We have so many narcissistic relationships, behaviors. We have everything built on shame in our government, in our schools, in our colleges, in our everywhere. And it is just like a painful reality that we are in. And the changes start from the man in the mirror, like in the song. And I'm starting from the man in the mirror. That's what I'm just suggesting you to do. Because this module, it just goes to the most intimate barrier. Because shame shaped your reality for years. And that wall around true pain is made out of shame. And actually, guys, it's such a profound work when you just get there, when you feel it. It's not gummy bears and rainbows. It is painful. I'm never saying that this work is easy, because there are a lot of like advices out there, a lot of people claiming that something can be done overnight. Just breathe with your womb and millions of dollars will fall on your head. If you believe in that and it's happening and it's right for you, okay. But personally, me, I know that that work cannot be so easily done, because it's years of shame inside. It's years of shrinking into a smaller personality. It's years of hiding there, and it cannot be undone like this. I wish it could, but it can't. So the module shame, it has 2 lessons. It has 2 practices. It has an extra energetical practice that is called the box of shame that can be used like through your whole life. Still, I am doing this work all of the time. I'm uncovering that box of shame more and more. And of course, I'm doing that already, not from the position of being hurt or being like in a bad state. No, usually I'm in a very good and energetic state right now because I'm more and more of who I am. But still, I'm uncovering that box of shame all the time because there are some small things that I didn't address before. And this is, for me, a very pleasant process because it's an invitation to be more and more of who I am. And I already know I have that neurological pathway that this is really, it feels good. It really feels home. It really feels empowering. It really feels like I'm growing there, like growing in a perspective, in an understanding of everything that's around. And that growth helps me to be more of who I am. So that's what it is. The module shame will go to the places where you forbade yourself to be yourself. The beliefs like I shouldn't, I'm not worthy, this is bad who I am, this should be hidden, and so on. We will go through deep embodiment and an energy practices, and you will unlock this inner lock on your heart and allow yourself to live without proving, hiding, or belittling yourself. So that's what the module shame is all about. So we have different tariffs. You can join the tariff that is called self-paced, where you're doing the work by yourself. There are 7 weeks of learning. It's a big, profound course because I personally think that those small courses are good for some preparations, but you really need the time and the space to digest everything that will be happening there. So we take our time, and we have 7 weeks of learning. We have recorded video lessons in a convenient way of listening to them. So this is included in a self-paced tariff, and you have the recordings of Zoom meetings. So I will be hosting the meetings for the rest of people who will go into the 2 next tariffs. We will have live sessions, and you will have me live with you in chat groups. And for self-paced, you will have the recordings of that, and you won't have any chats. Why did we create the self-paced way of learning? Because there are people there who say, I'm an expert, I'm a psychologist, I know everything, I don't need anyone by my side, I just need new information, new understanding, new tool that I want try on myself, then I can suggest to my clients or go deeper and learn how to be an expert in the method of 3 eyes. So for those people, there is a self-paced way of joining our course. For others, there are 2 more tariffs. The second tariff, it includes 7 weeks of learning, access to a chat with peers and me, and a supportive environment. We talk there, we have sharing circles, we have art there, we can ask questions, we can send there our tasks that we were doing from the lessons, and I can check. And it's not a check like a teacher, I'm just looking at it and giving you some extra direction or point of view where maybe you didn't look. So it helps you to really feel that what you did is going in the direction towards yourself, not you're running away from yourself. So then you have recorded video lessons also in a convenient format. You can watch them and rewatch them. There is a chat, as I told you. There is a weekly practical Zoom session with me. So we are there for 7 sessions together, and those sessions, they are like 2-hour sessions. Then we have a 4-month access. So for 4 months, you can rewatch, revisit, and redo the method. So you can first do it with one trauma, and then you can go for it and do it for another one. Of course, you will not already have the live sessions, but you can rewatch the recordings and just do it for another traumatic experience. Then we have one more way to join us. You just can look at this way on the website. This is the 9 weeks learning format. You have access to chat, you have recorded video lessons, you have chat with me, you have weekly practical Zoom sessions, you have 7-month, half a year access, and there is a module shame. So if you are interested in an extra module, in extra 2 sessions with me, extra 2 lessons, extra energetical practice, and you want to deal with your shame in a real eye-opening way, so please join me in the 3rd tariff. So that's how it is: the self-paced tariff, the tariff that excludes shame, and the tariff that includes shame. So you choose what you want. We did that because some people say, oh, I don't need to do the shame. I already did that work. It's up to you, for you to decide which tariff will you get. And I'm there for you. All my team is there for you, answering your questions. You can do that by using the button on the website. It is called the support. You can just jump right into the website and do that for you. So guys, that was it. That was the workshop that is called Beyond the Survival Self. I had such a good time with you. I wish we could stay more together, connect more, and talk more. I think that this topic is so big, so profound. I hope that it was useful for you, at least just to watch today's live and rewatch it if you joined later, because I've explained so many things there, and those explanations can help you understand your system more. And just understanding can help you a lot. If you want to go through some practices, there were practice in the first day, and in the second day there was also a practice, an integrative practice. And a lot of people said, and they just DM'd me, that that practice helped them a lot, because it was the practice of being present for the first time with that part of you. So where are you from? Your guesses. Guess where I'm from. If you're asking me where I'm originally from, now I live in Los Angeles in California. Where I'm originally from, just guess. So guys, this is it for the workshop. If you have any questions, I'm still here. Just shoot the questions. I will answer them. If you have anything for me, I'm here. And of course, I will be happy to see you inside the course. I will be happy to guide you through it. And I can tell you that this process is very rewarding. It's not easy. I will not tell you that this is easy, that this is just gummy bears, yeah. I will not tell you that, because it would be a lie. And I want you to be ready that every work, if you've been to therapy before, you understand that every work requires some commitment, requires some understanding, not the when you are seeking for a magical pill that you just drink that pill and everything is rosy pink. I think that you understand that already, because usually people already know that. When I was doing the work 5 years ago, I had to explain it a lot more. And this, like, gives some joy in my heart when I understand that nowadays people already know that it's not that easy as they thought it was. Because 5 years ago, people were coming to me and saying, Lana, can you create a hypnotic session so I can lose my weight? I'm like, what do you mean by that? And they would say, I mean that I will listen to the recording, the hypnotic recording, and I will not have any appetite, and I will get slim, get fit in 2 weeks, and I will be able to walk the beach in my new bikini. That's the reality, guys. That was the most frequently asked question 5 years ago. Give me a recording so I can get rich. Give me a recording so I can lose weight. Give me a recording so I can be more effective at work, and so on. So people were looking for those fast solutions, but actually it doesn't work, you know that. And this is the very important thing, that right now I'm getting less and less of it. It's fun. So guys, thank you for your attention. Okay, I'll answer you. You didn't start guessing, so I'll answer that question. I'm originally from Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian. I came to United States a lot of years ago. I live here, and I feel like this country is my place, my home. My kids were born and raised here, and that's why I feel like I need to contribute to the well-being of people around me with the method that I've been using in Ukraine. You can, if you want to, you can just see the profile that I have in Ukrainian language. There is a lot of more information, but obviously in Ukrainian. It's a very big account there, and here in American account, I'm just getting started, but this start is a big one. So you can join me in this course in an upcoming event when I will be hosting this course myself in Ukraine. I already have a lot of experts that I've taught. They already have clients. They are taught by me, and they already are those experts who they have clients, and they have also group sessions and so on. So now I'm all here in America, in American community, and I'm serving here as a guide to your deeper inner self-awareness. So using the method of 3 eyes, you can understand more of who you are, you can be more of who you are, you can start really loving yourself, being your best friend. You can, it's not like getting rid of. People say, can I get rid of the part of me that is unsuccessful? No, you can integrate that part. You can become whole again, and from that wholeness, you can build whatever success you want. This is the way, not just to get rid of something that you don't like, but to understand why is it there, to integrate it, to welcome it, to feel it, to really be with it. And then you're going next step forward, where you can already create the life you always wanted. But the truth is that people, when they are coming to work with themselves, they are coming with the thinking that, okay, I will just do that and I will get that. And along the way, they understand that what they wanted, that was coming out of a lot of pain, and that was coming out of a lot of insecurity. And now they are actually ready to get something else out of their life. I cannot even count how many people came to me with the wish to become rich, and they've changed that desire to something absolutely different, very deep and profound, and they became successful as a bonus, but not as a goal that they are setting. So guys, once again, thank you so much. If you want some practices, please revisit the first and the second day, rewatch this day to understand more about your trauma, your traumatic response, your unmet needs, your limiting beliefs, and your personality, how is it structured. And when you do understand that, you will get more awareness of who you are, and you will be walking towards yourself, not away from yourself. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. I hope we'll see each other inside of our course, and we will go beyond the survival self. Thank you for this workshop. Bye.